by themselves, right? There are no self-made people. Every educated Chicano that I know can point to very specific people who helped them along the way, to guide them, to push them, to kick them in the ass if necessary, in order to get them going where they needed to go. I can name those 5 people today. And that was a long time ago. I can name those people. My story started when my mom and dad separated in 1969. That means I'm old, right? We were living in Tucson, Arizona. My mom and dad were married, big family, 7 boys, 1 girl. We had a house that we lived in. My father worked for electronics place. He was a TV repairman. On the GI Bill, was able to go and get training because he was a vet. We had 2 cars. We had a very comfortable life. When my mom and dad separated, she loaded everybody up in a station wagon, a 1959 station wagon, and we came to California. Car broke down in San Bernardino. So the very first 3 days in California and San Bernardino, we lived in a Salvation Army tent. You know what those are, right? Salvation Army comes and helps support, like the Red Cross back in the day. You'd have a big old gigantic tent and there'd be all these cots that people who were home.
Hello, Pachuco Landia. This is JJ Gonzalez from El Pachuco Zoot Suits for another edition of Pachuco Lifestyles. And we have today Jorge Hernandez from the Cheech Marin Museum to talk to us about one of his events that he has every year. And due to the virus, the COVID-19, he is going to do a virtual event this weekend. So we have Jorge on to tell us a little bit about that. Jorge, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's nice to be able to see you. I think the last time I saw you was after Pachuco Ball, and I made a visit to the store and we hung out for a little bit. But it's been almost a year.
Yes, it's been a while. And we are looking forward to your event as we do every year. And well, we're going to do something a little bit different this time, Jorge. So tell us a little bit about your background, what you do as far as the museum and the fundraisers.
All right. So I've been a radio DJ on Radio Aslan for the last 35 years. So I'm mostly known in the area as Mr. Blue. I'm also an organizer for the Riverside Art Museum, an unpaid position, but they really give me free reign to do cultural events. So not only the Pachuco Ball, but I did a Posadas event there. I did a Dia de los Reyes Magos event there. We had a program where we played music on the rooftop. They allowed us to park all of our lowriders in front. So whenever I have an idea about an event, they really give me free reign to do that, because they know that what I have in mind as a goal is to bring as many people as possible to the Riverside Art Museum and then talk to them about the Cheech Marin Center for Chicano Art, Culture, and Industry. That's going to open up fall of next year. They're already opening it up for bids in order to redo the library. And, you know, even though COVID has stopped everything else, it has not stopped that, because one of the industries that it hasn't affected as much as all other industries is construction.
Right.
So that's on go. Good. And when that opens up, that's going to be the largest repository collection of Chicano art in the entire world. Right. Cheech Marin has donated several pieces, and he has agreed to house his permanent collection there at the Riverside Art Museum. Now, for me, that's like going to Disneyland. That's like the Chicano version of Disneyland, right? To have all that art and all these artists that I've ever heard about, spoke about, learned about, to have their works collected in one spot. So I dedicated myself to making sure that that becomes a reality, that the focus on that is art, and that they do a variety of other things as well. So I'm really excited and jazzed about being part of just this Firme Museum. And Cheech is such a likable guy that, you know, when you meet him and you talk to him, you really want to, you know, do what you can in order to help him out.
Right.
So normally we would have a Pachuco Ball, and we would have it this weekend. This would have been Pachuco Ball number 3. The first 2 were fantastic. I know you went to the second one. The first one, Phyllis and Ray went to that, and they enjoyed themselves. And we usually have comida. We have, 2 different bands. We have a dance contest. We have just a ton of raffles, right? It's just a beautiful event. About 1/3 of the people get all tacucherao, right? Zoot suits and whatever. And the rest don't, but they still in the lowrider in a cultura with the tandos and their shirts and their pants and their shoes. It really is a freedom and nice event. And when I brought up that idea to the Riverside Art Museum, they were so excited. Usually when I bring up ideas of Chicano culture to a white organization, an established one, I always get the reasons why I cannot do those things or why that event will not work. But that has not been my experience with the Riverside Art Museum. Honestly, they give me, I don't want to say carte blanche because I might get them in trouble. But whenever I have an idea, they are so receptive. Good. So instead of having Pachuco Ball this weekend, we're going to have a Zoom event. Riverside Art Museum is sponsoring it. I invited Dr. Carlos Cortez, who is a professor at UC Riverside. He was a Chicano Studies professor. He was there from the very beginning in the formation of Chicano Studies. He was there at the beginning of the formation of Chicano student programs. And he's just always been a guy that lends himself, se presta, to do whatever it is that we ask him. Ever since I was a college student in 1981 till now, whenever we asked him to do something, he's right there. He's always first in line. So we're going to have a chat about the Zoot Suit Wars and how that's a misnomer, how it wasn't a Zoot Suit war, it wasn't a riot, how we were victimized and how we were castigated and just painted as being these thugs and these criminals and all those stereotypes that exist today of cholos and homies and of the lowrider culture. It had a very definite start in the 1940s. Right. And we haven't been able to dispel that no matter what. So part of the things that I want to do, and not only in having this discussion, but in having Pachuco Ball events and lowrider events, is to show the world that we are just like everyone else. We are, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, that we put a lot of money into our cars, and we're all about familia. We're all about family. We want to drive that home. Right. So the Zoom idea is going to take place Saturday. It's at 7:00. 260 participants have signed up. We had to close it because it was just too much. And instead of having a webinar where they just listen to me and Carlos talk, it's going to be interactive. They get to ask questions, they get to chime in. And that's supposed to be an hour. But I think it's going to run over a little bit because this topic is so important and just so vast that I know we're going to go over a little bit. And then the last hour from 8 to 9 was supposed to be my playing some music and talking about what is Pachuco Boogie music and how it's the mixture of this music and our own personal touch to make it uniquely Chicano. So that's still planned, but I don't know how much of that is actually going to take place because I think the talk should take some priority. And if we go over on it, I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, and let's just go back a little bit, just back to Cheech's collection. I had the opportunity of viewing it here in Anaheim when he had they had a small collection of his artwork here in Anaheim, and I just blown away at the art that Cheech has retained from all his purchases of art. He had his lowrider in there, which is amazing in itself. So I'm looking forward to it. And also about your ball too. I mean, it was that was the buzz of the store. I mean, everybody was coming in to rent their Zoot Suits, purchase Zoot Suits. So it was a great event. I enjoyed myself, and I was really looking forward to this next one too. But now you're doing it virtual, so I look forward to that as well because that's one of the things we're talking about on this show is the reality of the Pachucos and how they were portrayed as these delinquents, these criminals. And my wife did Linda did her thesis on that for her master's degree, and which shows it was all the media, something such as what we're going through now,
Right.
just really making this an issue and mainstreaming it and making us the victims. So I appreciate that conversation. I always enjoy when we have people on that talk about the history.
Well, I've always appreciated the store's existence. I bought my zoot suit from Phyllis, probably about 25, maybe 30 years ago, right? And it still fits, right? And so, the fact that that store has been in existence, and every time we reach out and ask for help, Phyllis and Ray and the rest of you there at the store are always just ready to do whatever, because you see that your mission and, my mission and everyone who is seeking to change that image of the Pachuco, the homie, the cholo, the vato loco, we're all on the same mission, is to change that negative image that people have of us. And you have been at the forefront of that for 40 years. Just selling the clothes itself, that is a symbol of resistance, right? Just wearing the traje, that's a symbol of resistance. The calcos, the tando, right? The cadena, that's just a symbol. That's just resistance 101, man. And I'm glad that you folks have been able to maintain the store and thrive. I know right now with COVID and the store not being open,
right?
But I still see your online stuff, right, all the time.
Yeah, we're doing okay. Thank you to all the audience that are helping us out. But yes, the store's closed. Rentals, we don't know when we'll come back to that because of all the protocols involving rental clothes and trying things on. So yes. So, and now, Jorge, let's talk. I know Phyllis, always telling us, we got to find the station. Tell us about your radio show, because I know you've been doing it for a while, I think, and actually, I just found out about it myself. So let's give you some publicity on your radio show, because we got to get more people listening.
So I've been doing it since 1982. I started college at UC Riverside in 81. I started working for Chicano student programs, and they had a talk show, Radio del Quinto Sol, and it was a half-hour show. So I became a host on that, and then I invited Daniel Jacobo, one of my fellow students, and we did a show on the recording artists of the 1950s who were Chicanos. That garnered so much support that Daniel was able to get his own 2-hour block of time. He then became the student director at UC Riverside, and then he just created Chicano programming on Fridays. Because I was on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, but Daniel brought us all over till Friday, and so I have been doing that now for the last 35 years.
Wow.
The only time I did not do that was when I went to law school in San Francisco from 86 through 89, and I was on La Onda Bajita, KPFA in Berkeley, with Chuy Varela and Miguel Molina. And then when I came back from law school, started back up again. Now, our station is a small station. It's a college station, but we're like everyone else. We live stream. So you don't have to no longer be in the antenna radius. You just go to kucr.org and you can listen to it online. If you have an Apple phone, there's a KUCR app that you can download for free. Any other device like Samsung, or you go to TuneIn Radio, and then you can find us. It's 88.3. That's our call letters. Okay. And right now, though, since March, I think it's March 18th to today's date, has been the longest time that I have not been on the air.
Oh, wow.
Because the station is closed.
Right.
And the college is closed. And the game plan is to reopen it, I believe, in September. But, we don't know if that's going to happen or not, because the campus hasn't opened up fully. They're doing virtual classes.
Right.
So right now what's happening is they're playing some reruns of some programs, but they're not even letting us in order to switch out the programs. Because I've got 35 years of recordings.
Right.
And I edit them, and I could just put them on there, and it would be Chicano movement music, it would be trio music, it'd be música mexicana, it would be oldies, it'd be the East Side sound. I've got different programs on different segments of music, but they're not even allowing us in the station to make that change.
Wow. Well, hopefully we get over this. I mean, it seems like it's getting a little bit better over here, at least in Orange County. So we're waiting to see what happens. But yeah, Jorge, that's great. what else can we? So the Cheech Museum is going to taking bids right now, and I just want to do a shout out because a good friend of mine, when I came into politics, I know Assembly Member Medina.
Yes.
Actually got substantial amount of money in California's budget to help the cost for this museum. So do you know
$9.7 million.
$9.7 million for that museum, and that's great. And God love him. I known Assembly Member Medina for a while, and I know he's all about the culture and actually making sure that we have somewhere to visit so we can see these things, such as
Right.
the artwork that Cheech has.
Yeah, I've known Jose since, my professional life is as a lawyer and now as a Superior Court judge, but I met him when I was a student at UC Riverside. And then, he was a teacher over at Pauley High School teaching Chicano studies. So I've known Jose probably most of my adult life. And I've seen that progression from Chicano studies teacher to politician to making sure that, a variety of different things, happen. He is just on it. He is it. He is what we hope every Chicano politico would be. Because there's a lot of politicians that don't live up to the rah-rah fight of Chicanismo and we're going to fight for our community. There's a lot that do not follow through. Jose is actually one that actually speaks and follows through on what he says.
Good. Yeah, well, Jose is an amazing person, and I'm so thankful for him. And unfortunately, I think he was going to have a big birthday in 2020 because I remember he mentioned it to me at the last Pachuco Ball. He wanted to have a Pachuco party. Well, maybe next time, Jose, Medina will be able to help you out. But it didn't happen this year, so you can have a duo next year, hopefully. So
I hope so.
We appreciate the time. You have anything closing remarks? We want to make it short so we get this on. I know you have the event on Saturday, so we want to make sure we get this on by latest tomorrow so we get you some more publicity. And anything you need from us, let us know. If you're doing any raffles or anything, let us know. We'd be more than happy to help you out.
That sounds good. So for those of you that did not get signed in, the registration's closed, but they're going to record it and they're going to put it on the Riverside Art Museum website. I also, they're going to post, I have an 80-minute program called Homenaje al Pachuco, which is music, comentarios, and poetry, all concentrating on Pachucos. They're going to also put that on their website. So even if you're not able to participate on Saturday, you'll be able to, listen to it, enjoy it, and it'll be on their webpage.
Great. And I want to just touch on something real quickly too, because I saw it on the post for the museum about the ethnic studies bill that's at the governor's desk, I believe. So just let's put a push for that. Also to contact your assembly member to push to the governor to sign that. And I believe you could probably correct me, but every college student will have to take an ethnic studies course.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
And we need that.
Right.
Because that was where I got my sense of self. I was a Chicano studies major, but I got introduced to Chicano studies at North High School, Mexican American studies with Richard Munguia as the high school teacher. So it's very important. You get your sense of self from that, your sense of belonging, your sense of history, and your sense of place in the world. It is vital for our kids to know where they came from and what their history is.
Absolutely. And I, at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, I was a MECHA president, and I met a lot of Chicano studies and professors that were there on campus that inspired me to do what I did, politics and stuff. So I really appreciate that, especially if we could get that through. It would help all our college, university students. So, all right, Jorge. Well, I want to say thank you. And on behalf of the Estrella family and El Pachuco Zoot Suits, we thank you for coming on. And we wish you much love and much respect. And we hope that this is a very successful event. And hopefully in 2021, we're back for the real live show in Riverside.
So I want to thank you, JJ, and your wife, Linda, Vanessa, and Ray, and then Ray and Phyllis. Much love to all of you. You folks are familiar to me, so I love and respect all of you, and I appreciate what you're doing.
And so thank you, Jorge. You're coming to us, too. Thank you.
All right, brother.
Good night.
Good night.